Okay, boys, here's our new video to solve this logic puzzle. Let's get out our highlighter. We'll choose red, and let's see what we can do. Not that. Okay, first clue. The trip to Gilmore City was either the April 17th trip or the outing where they saw 16 shooting stars. Gives us some information, but actually doesn't give us enough information at all to start making marks on the page. We know that it was, if it was this one, then it wasn't this one. And if it was this one, then it wasn't this one. So we actually don't know enough. Clue 2 is very clear. The April 10th trip was in Eastbrook, right? April 10th was in Eastbrook. So that's a green. I'll choose green for that. And then I'll choose my red. So the April 7th trip wasn't in Eastbrook, the April 17th wasn't in Eastbrook, and the April 22nd wasn't in Eastbrook. And by the same token, the April 10th trip was not in any of these three cities. So we've now used that. The April 22nd outing logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Eastbrook, right? But if this is true, then the April 22nd trip cannot possibly be the minimum shooting stars, because it actually logged 7 more than someone else, than a different trip. So April 22nd cannot be the minimum. April 22nd cannot be 2. Excuse me, that should be red. A bit clearer. There we go. It also, you can assume, or you can deduct from this clue, that the April 22nd trip is not the same as the Eastbrook trip, which we already knew. It says it there. The outing where they saw 23 shooting stars was either the April 17th trip or the outing to Kelowna. Okay. Again, this is like clue 1. We don't really know enough just yet to start making marks. The April 22nd trip logged 23 shooting stars. Okay, that's quite easy. We're told a fact there. April 22nd logged 23 shooting stars, which means that we can fill in some reds in this column and this row. Now, let's go back up. Let's mark that one off because we won't be using that one anymore. We've got all our information from that. Let's go back up here. The April 22nd trip logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Eastbrook. Well, 22 take away 7 is 15. So the trip to Eastbrook saw 15 shooting stars. Sorry, excuse me, 16. Poor maths. 23 take away 7 is 16. Eastbrook is 16 now, which is 16 Eastbrook there. And we can put in some more reds here, here, and here, here, and here, and here. Now, let's see what else we can deduct before moving on to to clue 6. The Eastbrook trip, where they saw 16 shooting stars. Well, we already know the Eastbrook trip was on April 10th, because it says it here, which means that the 16 shooting stars were seen on April 10th. Excuse me, that should be green. Which means we can fill in these in red. Here, and here, here, and here. Let's have a look at clue 6. The April 10th outing logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Gilmore City. We're going to be using some red here. The April 10th outing logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Gilmore City. But then, therefore, the April 10th outing cannot be the minimum outing. It cannot be the minimum number of shooting stars, because if it logged 7 more than another trip. So April 10th is definitely not the minimum, which we already knew. By the same token, the Gilmore City trip can't be the maximum. Because if another trip logged more shooting stars than it, well then this one cannot be the maximum. Gilmore City cannot be the maximum, which means it can't be 23, which we already know. Let's go back and use the same type of thinking for number 1, or excuse me, for number 3. The April 22nd trip logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Eastbrook, which means the trip to Eastbrook cannot be the maximum either, which we already know. Let's go back to the beginning now. The trip to Gilmore City was either the April 17th trip or the outing where they saw 16 shooting stars. Well, we know already that the trip that saw 16 shooting stars was the one that went to Eastbrook. Therefore, the trip to Gilmore City must have been on April 17th. Gilmore City must have been April 17th. Excuse me, that should be green. Which means we can fill in some more red. Here and here and here and here. By the same token, we now know that the trip to Gilmore City was definitely not the one that saw 16 shooting stars. And the 16 shooting stars cannot be Kelowna either, or Manchester. Let's move on. The April 22nd outing logged 7 more shooting stars in the trip to Eastbrook. We've already used that, excuse me. Clue 4. The outing where they saw 23 shooting stars was either the April 17th trip or the outing to Kelowna. Well, we know that the outing that saw 23 shooting stars was on April 22nd. So it can't have been April 17th, which means it must have been Kelowna. So the 23 shooting stars were seen on the trip to Kelowna. I've made a mistake here, haven't I? So I can stick in my green there. That should be green. Because the outing where they saw 23 shooting stars was the trip to April 17th trip, which we know it wasn't. The April 17th trip was to Gilmore City. So which means that the 23 shooting stars must have been seen in Kelowna. 23 Kelowna. Now we already know that the 23 were seen on April 22nd, which means that Kelowna was April 22nd. There. Let's fill in these now. We're beginning to see the map. This one can be filled in and so can this one. This one can be filled in and this one. Let's see if everything else is filled in that should be filled in. Okay, well, Manchester is definitely this one. So Manchester was on April 7th. That's what we know for a fact now. So we are now dealing with 2 shooting stars and 9 shooting stars. And we're dealing with Gilmore City and Manchester, just to be clear about which ones we're working on. What can we fill in from here? Well, we know that April 17th was Gilmore City. And Gilmore City, I haven't figured out how many stars yet. Okay, let's start at the beginning again. The trip to Gilmore City was either the April 17th trip, which it was, let's go back to clue 3. The April 22nd outing logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Eastbrook. The April 22nd outing scored 23. Eastbrook, 7 less. We've already used that, haven't we? Let's go down to clue 6. The April 10th outing logged 7 more shooting stars than the trip to Gilmore City. Okay, well, the trip to Gilmore City yielded We don't know how much it yielded yet. The April 10th outing saw 16 though. The April 10th outing saw 16 shooting stars, which is 7 more than the trip to Gilmore City. Well, 16 take away 7 is 9, so 9 must be Gilmore City. Let's fill in the reds then. That's the crucial clue that gets us to the end, leaving 2 in Manchester. Well, we know that Manchester is April 7th, so therefore Manchester must be 2. Or April 7th must be 2. Leaving April 17th must be 9. We could fill in the rest of these in red. If we have one of these types of puzzles completed correctly, you should only have one tick or one green mark in any row or in any column of the main box, very similar to Sudoku. In a Sudoku puzzle, you can only have one digit in any digit in any row or column. Very same as this, you can only have one tick in any row or column, because otherwise there's a contradiction somewhere. To truly state the final answer, what we could do is we could take this out. We could delete this, and we could wipe this, and we could state the following. Excuse me now. 2 stars, April 7th, and it was seen in Manchester. 9 stars on April 17th. Gilmore City. 16 stars. April 10th. Eastbrook. And finally, 23 stars. Three stars on April 22nd. In Kelowna. And if I look, I was using those 2 boxes to answer that, but if I use these 2 boxes, it should state the very same thing. Let's check it quickly. 2 stars, 7th, April 7th, Manchester. 2 stars, April 7th, Manchester. Manchester, April 7th. 9 stars, April 17th, Gilmore City. 9 stars, April 17th, Gilmore City. 16 stars, April 10th, Eastbrook. 16 stars, April 10th, Eastbrook. 23 stars, April 22nd, Kelowna. 23 stars, April 22nd, Kelowna. That's the correct answer. If you have that, well done.